What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today's video comes from a TikTok live stream. Today, we're going to be talking with Kunta, who is going to be going over the nature of belief, the evidence, or rather lack of evidence for God's existence, and the differences between subjective and objective experiences in reality. So if you want to fuck around and find out how wrong Kunta is on all of these topics, then please stay tuned. So what is up there, Kunta? Kunta Kinte?
Yes, I'm doing good.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, what are your pronouns?
I am a male.
Okay, so normally with pronouns, we're not looking for gender like that. We're looking for, like, if I were to refer to you later, like he came up to my live or she would come up to my live, which one would be the one?
He.
Okay. All right. Now that we have a basic concept of what pronouns are,
Yes.
What do you have to say?
So I just want to know, why don't you believe in God?
Okay, I do not believe in God, primarily because I do not see any evidence that warrants a belief in a God, and that's because the current definitions of God do not seem to comport with reality, and therefore I don't believe in things that do not comport with reality. Therefore, I do not believe in any current definition of a God that we have.
Do you think a belief system can be a source of evidence, like a justified belief, for example?
Can you repeat that again?
I think a belief system can be a source of evidence, a justified belief.
No, I think that you should have evidence to support your beliefs. And so if you have beliefs, then I would think that evidence outside of those beliefs is what you should use to support believing in those things.
Wait, so what if, for example, because I mean, if we're going to have this conversation, I think we're going to have to agree upon some form of belief that is a reflection of personal subjective experience, right?
Well, okay, so I do not think that me just simply holding a belief makes it true in reality.
Yeah, so if we can somehow like come to some sort of like middle ground about belief, then
what part of your belief do you think should be taken as a fact?
Okay. So what I'm saying is that, like, for example, personal experience, like sharing testimonies or stories of transformation that can illustrate someone's subjective experience, would that be okay?
I mean, you can do that, but I don't see why that should compel another person unless you have evidence outside of your experience that verifies that your experience is true of reality.
Oh, like you're okay with okay, because for me, when I think about belief, I don't think belief and knowledge are mutually exclusive. I think they're actually mutually inclusive rather than the latter.
Oh, okay. So, like, for instance, if I said I believed in a big dick Godzilla walking around Palestine in the 1st century CE, that means that it's true about reality?
Yeah.
Like, I know that to be true?
Yeah, isn't that like kind of like what I think that's kind of like what I'm certain it could be subjectively. Yeah, because it's that person.
It could subjectively be true about reality that there was a big dick Godzilla walking around Palestine?
Yeah, for that person's experience, no? For that person's own personal experience.
No, I do not believe that to be true.
Okay, then why hold a conversation about God then? Because that's literally what it's about, right?
What I'm asking for, okay, just to be explicit, I'm asking for evidence outside of personal experience that verifies that a God does exist. That's what I'm asking for. If you have evidence that supports your beliefs, something outside of yourself that should be able to prove to somebody else that God does exist, I would love to hear it.
So sure. So when you say evidence outside of someone's own personal subjective experience, what kind of inductive inference are you looking for? Like inductive, deductive, the Kalam argument, like what?
So the way that we know, like, for instance, gravity exists is because, I can take my pill bottle here because I'm old as fuck. I can take this pill bottle, I can drop it, that is gravity, however we want to understand it, whether that's the bending of space-time or in a more classical sense of it being a force that is where one object is attracted to another. This object is attracted to the center of the Earth because of how massive it is, and so like that's why it falls. So we have visual evidence outside of myself. This is not something that you can't test on your own. This is something that we can experience. Everybody can experience on Earth by dropping something. And so like this is something outside of myself that can verify that gravity does indeed exist in some kind of fashion, whether we fully understand gravity or not.
I don't think you really answered my question. Like, what does that have to do with my question that I asked?
If you have evidence where the only explanation can be God, then we should infer that God does exist.
Right. So that's why I was asking, what kind of inference are you okay with, like inductive inference, deductive inference about God, the Kalam argument about God?
The Kalam argument shit. I don't believe that the Kalam argument gets you to a God.
Okay, sure. That's fair. How about divine simplicity?
Divine simplicity.
Right.
I think I may know what you're talking about, but can you make the argument for me?
Yeah. I can share that with you. So when it comes to divine simplicity, have you like read like any literature about that?
I'm just simply asking you to make the argument so I can make a determination on what you mean by divine simplicity.
Okay, sure. So like a divine simplicity is like basically in classical theism, like God is described as like immutable, unchanging, eternal, and perfect. So if God had parts or attributes that were distinct from his essence, it could imply some sort of change or imperfection.
Okay, so you're starting off with your argument with a bunch of ad hoc statements about God.
What makes any of my statements ad hoc? Can you please?
Because you're making claims about God, and then we don't have any evidence that asserts that God should be any of those particular we don't have any evidence that a God necessarily dictates that he would have those attributes.
So define ad hoc, because I don't think like anything I said in my first presses got anything to do with ad hoc explanations or evaluation.
Well, yeah. So you're making ad hoc claims, meaning they are claims that are not supported by evidence.
Wait, what? Like
they are claims made about God that do not have evidence to support the claims that God would have those attributes.
Host, all I did was posited for you an argument about classical theism, right? I don't think that's an ad hoc. An ad hoc is an explanation that is a response that is made specifically to address. Can
you give me reasons as to why God would have those attributes?
So what problem do you find in this? Like
I find it to be a subjective definition of what a God is.
Okay, so I was not even done about the nature of God. All I was present to you was like the attributes, right? And then I was also trying to present to you. So I don't know. So like, and then also I was also trying to provide to you before you cut me off that God's attributes such as goodness, power, knowledge, and are not separate qualities, but are identical to his essence. For instance, God is not merely good; he is goodness itself, right? And also when we regard, for example, philosophical implications, we could assert that God is the foundation of reality and that his simplicity basically allows for his existence as the ultimate cause of everything.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
How many seminars by Jordan Peterson have you attended?
How many seminars? I went to Foley Seminary. I don't know Jordan Peterson. I like Jordan Peterson, but he's a little different.
Oh, is he? Because this sounds like a Jordan Peterson kind of argument, because I've heard him make the exact same kind of argument that you're making here, which is sourced in classical Greek thought kind of thing. you know, this entire thing just reeks of like you just saying God is all good. He is what is good. But there's no actual evidence to support this idea that God is good in any kind of sense. Like, how would we, in a practical way, how would we observe this in reality?
Like Jordan Peterson. I'm confused.
No. Forget Jordan Peterson. Your
He does.
argument just sounds like it comes from Jordan Peterson. Forget Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, 'cause-
I'm asking for a practical way in which we can observe this in reality.
Oh wait, so before we move on, can we at least agree that Jordan Peterson does not focus on philosophical doctrines about
I
Thomas
will
Aquinas?
not agree to that. Jordan Peterson is a philosophical word
No.
vomit, and that's all that he does. So
Right, but he does
let's
not
move
focus
past
on-
that, though.
Wait, when was the last time that he talked about Thomas Aquinas? Like Jordan
Thomas
Peterson.
Aquinas?
Yeah, this
Like
is
I don't know when he's talked about Thomas Aquinas, but that's not really the important point.
exactly. So we can so let's move on.
I said let's move on from this, but you're the one that was wanting to stick around for
okay,
it.
sure. What was the question?
What is the practical evidence in reality where we can observe God being the reason why good exists, which is, I feel like, is what your argument is.
I mean, what are your thoughts on like nature, for example?
I think nature is indifferent to the human experience.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I feel like nature is indifferent to human experience.
What do you mean by that?
Nature does not give a fuck about us.
Like, can you provide some example what you mean?
I mean, nature is not a sentient being. Nature just exists. It operates in the way that nature operates, and it doesn't show any kind of deference to the human experience. So that's why suffering exists. Suffering exists just because nature is going to nature. And so because nature is going to nature, whether or not humans are suffering or any sentient life is suffering, nature is still going to operate regardless of whether or not they're suffering. So nature is amoral in the sense that it is indifferent to the experiences of sentient creatures.
That is a very weird way of looking at nature. I think
It seems like it is a very natural way of looking at nature. Nature don't give a fuck about us.
well, maybe in the West, that's how you guys see it. But anyways,
No, I feel like most of the scientific community would acknowledge the
No,
amoral
that's not
nature of nature.
not in the scientific community in Africa would not agree to exactly how you reflect in nature.
So you
Indigenous
think the
people would
scientific
not agree to
community
that.
would affirm that nature has like a conscience attached to it so that it can
from
show
African
deference
context.
to human suffering?
Yeah, from African context, yes. So let me just
How exactly? How does nature? Because like when I look at nature, I see like the hyenas. They will unalive other animals in order to eat. We ourselves are omnivorous and will unalive other animals all throughout history. Like nature, like all of this suffering that goes on is just there. Like it just happens. Suffering cannot be stopped because nature does not give a shit about you.
wait. Man don't give a shit about you, okay? So let me just put it like this. So in nature, right, we could observe that we have scientists that have argued that nature itself is amoral, and we have scientists that have argued that nature itself has moral insights, right? For example,
Who? Citation.
Wait.
I don't have my shirt, but citation fucking needed on scientists coming
you
to
haven't
that
provided
conclusion.
any citation yet, and so you're just making lots of claims. So wait, let me finish before I present to you the citations. So when you look at like many African scientists, right, they observe that species evolve through gradual change, leading to continuum of life forms. There are natural phenomena and degree of consistency and stability over time. And there are also geologists that are agree for like the example, the appreciation and symbolic representation of seasonal cycles and geological processes. And then also there, like, if you look into like traditional ecological knowledge that has been passed down in generations, right? The relationship and the balance of nature, the spiritual perspectives are emphasized, a larger cosmic order, interconnectedness. So that's how we perceive it. So the way that you're saying that nature is somehow amoral, that is a product of the West. That is and I think
No, it's not a product of the West.
It is not a product of the East. I can tell you that for sure. It is not.
Why does it matter whether it's a product of Satan's asshole? Like, I don't understand like what the point is here.
I mean, and the reason why we headed towards this path was because you were saying that, can you provide for me some sort of like practical evidence of how goodness can be perceived in reality, right? And I was about to do that, and then you shifted to this idea of nature not giving a fuck about us. Like, where does that come
Right.
from? And I didn't even get to answer that question. There are acts of kindness where compassion, altruism is demonstrating goodness, volunteering, supporting friends in times of need.
You realize everything that you're describing is all part of a social species. Like other social species on this planet exhibit those particular things
that's
too.
fair. That's how God ordained things to be.
No, it's not how God ordained things to be. That's just how social species work. Like before we existed, social species existed too.
I'm sorry. I got a call. When you say social species, what do you mean?
Social species, like they're species that interact, like it's in a group setting. These species, a species will interact with the individual members will interact with each other in order to survive. They must work together in order to survive. They communicate with each other in order to survive. That kind of thing. I'm trying to simplify it down, as to what a social species is. So we got a bunch of different social species that exist on this planet. Like, lions is a type of social species. And there's like canines. Canines would be a social species. They hunt in packs and everything like that. So, I mean, there are plenty of social species on this planet, various levels of sentience and everything.
Wait, so would you say, if I were to ask you this question regarding like the examination that you're expressing about like these social species, if I were to tell you, for example, and it is only humans that have the ability to transcend reality, and animals cannot, how would that make you feel?
I would feel like I don't believe in magic or wizards.
Like you watch way too much Joe Rogan.
There you go.
Okay, so wait, what was the answer? You don't believe in magic?
Yep.
Wait, what do you think that transcendent means?
What does transcendent mean to you?
Answer the question, because you're assuming that is magic. So answer the question.
I mean, transcendent. The way that I've interacted with that before with other people has just been this sort of elevating outside of time and space, or on a different plane of existence or something. Like transcending. Normally transcending is in reference to transcending time and space. Like God is supposed to transcend all of time and space and everything like that. He's outside of time and space.
Okay, so it's not magic. So Immanuel Kant, for example,
no, that would be magic. Like transcending it would be magic. How is it not magic?
What is your definition of magic? Because maybe you have a different definition.
I mean, a definition of magic would be the suspension of the natural order of reality. I feel like if you yourself are going to transcend anything, that's a supernatural deal where you would have to suspend the natural order of reality, considering how we understand energy to operate, in order for you to transcend in whatever the fuck that means in practical reality.
That is not how the Immanuel Kant
okay, and that's why I asked you to explain what you understood about it to me.
So, for example, we can look at Immanuel Kant, for example. So, Immanuel.
Can you just give your definition of magic and transcendent? I don't like. Why should we care what Kant says if you disagree with Kant, or do you go with Kant's definition?
I go with Immanuel Kant and Rene Descartes.
Cool. Then just define what you mean by it, please.
Bro, chill your balls. Okay.
The fuck?
Okay. Thank you. So, what I would say is, in the philosophical context, transcendence it's not magic, right? Transcendence is basically an idea that expresses a higher level of existence, understanding of reality, engage in abstract concepts such as truth, beauty, or the divine, for example, or in spiritual context, it's the experience and connecting with some sort of like a higher power, a greater spiritual reality beyond the mundane or earthly experience. This is how we perceive it. The way that you're describing it, it's not magic.
it is magic. Like everything that you just described there, I would lump into a magical like experience or shit like that. So I mean, that's fine if you want to believe in that. I don't believe in magic. It's all bullshit.
Oh, I'm trying. The definition of magic, right, typically refers to the supernatural powers or rituals to manipulate natural force for specific outcomes. That's all it is. Transcendence refers to the act of basically going beyond ordinary limits, relating to spiritual philosophical elevation. There's a difference. It's sublime. It's ultimate truths.
Have you seen Doctor Strange?
So it has nothing to do with magic. There's a difference.
Have you seen Doctor Strange?
Magic focuses on manipulation and immediate effects.
Have you seen Doctor Strange?
Bro, like you need to study Asian Near Eastern context. I'm sorry.
Have you seen Doctor Strange?
Have I seen Doctor Strange?
Yes, the Marvel movie Doctor Strange.
The dude that does like that makes like the designs and with his hands.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So when Doctor Strange in his temple does his astral projection where he can astrally project out and transcend time and space in that kind of way, would that be transcendent right there to you?
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to somehow manipulate.
I'm just asking if his astral projection is a practical example of this transcendent feature that you're talking about.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yes. Okay. Good. He's a fucking wizard.
No, time out. Host. What you're describing is was he seeking for some sort of higher truth? Okay, I remember
he was.
He literally did.
Wait.
The start of the Doctor Strange movie is him literally seeking a higher truth and joining in order to obtain this higher truth.
The bald wizard lady flicked his third eye and sent him into another dimensional space to where he flew through time and space and all that kind of shit.
That's host. You missed my definition of magic. Transcendence seeks connection to higher truths or realities, whereas magic aims for specific outcomes through supernatural means. That is the difference. You're mixing.
The wizard achieved all of that transcendence through fucking magic.
You're mixing apples and oranges together, and it shouldn't be the case. That's what
we are, Kunta. Even by your definitions, Kunta, transcendence would simply be an aspect of magic. It would be a subset of magic.
No.
So would spirituality. All this stuff can be lumped in with magic by the words you use by your lights, my guy.
Corey, you're taking him off script. Just cut it. You're taking him off script.
So again, I'll provide a definition for you. Transcendence refers to the act of going beyond ordinary limits, relating to spirit.
Are you breaking the natural laws? Are you going beyond the natural laws of the universe with transcendence?
Right. Magic typically...
We define that as magic, Kunta. We're saying that we are defining that as a subset of magic because does magic also violate the natural laws of the universe, Kunta? Just answer yes or no. Kunta, it's a yes or a no. Does magic also violate the laws of the natural laws of the universe? My question. Kunta, it's a yes or a no question. Does magic violate the natural laws?
Ask me a question from asking you a question because you're running. You know you're wrong, Corey. You know you're wrong.
I'm not running, Kunta. I'm literally just trying to get us all using the same damn definitions, bud. That's it. I'm just trying to clarify the conversation. I'm trying to help you out. I'm with you here, bud. Something Jesus. But does magic violate the natural laws of the universe?
Okay, so I would say magic does not violate the universe. It often hinges on belief systems. That's all it does.
What?
Yes.
So if a wizard conjures a fireball using no existing energy and releases said energy, right? Creates energy from nothing, more or less, with magic. Does that not violate the natural laws of the universe?
It doesn't, because it is viewed as part of natural order.
The creation of energy is a violation of the natural laws of reality.
No, you're not understanding. You guys,
the first law of thermodynamics.
You guys are not understanding. You guys not. So when you look at natural, in some traditions, right, there are practitioners that may believe that magical practices could tap into like inherent energies or force of nature rather than violating them.
Inherent energies?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Whenever you people, whenever religious people say inherent energies or anything like that. Like I totally find that to be a vacuous statement, because like I don't know what it means for energy to be different. Like it's in different forms, but I don't know what different energies means.
Okay, so like have you thought about, like, in physics, for example?
Okay, what about
physics? Do you want to go down physics? Do you really want to go down physics in this conversation?
I'll cook you in that too. So we can use
You're not cooking yet.
But I think I've done my best. So, for example, when I say inherent energies, they're in physical context. Physical context. That's what I meant. So, inherent energies can be referred to like energy that an object possesses due to its positional structure, right? So, for example, a potential energy could be an inherent energy that it raises objects due to like some sort of kinetic form, right? That is just one context. But when we're talking about like the spiritual and philosophical context, inherent energy just refers to like the intrinsic aspect of life force, or vital energy that is presented in all beings, like chi, for example, in Chinese philosophy, prana in Indian philosophy, and suggesting that there is a vital energy within all living things that connects them together, like connects all of the universes together. So I provided for you two different definitions of inherent energy in physics, potential, and in philosophical and spiritual context. That's what I'm saying. You can't argue physics. The question is, you can't argue physics with science. Spiritual context. No, it's either you conceive.
But Kunta, when we bring up energy, we're not bringing up chi, dude. We're talking about energy, the ability to do work, potential, kinetic, all that fun stuff. We're talking about it in the scientific sense. And when we're talking about, hey, if a wizard can create a fireball not using existing energy and then releasing it, this wizard is creating energy, which violates the first law of thermodynamics. Like trying to get us back on the conversation, right?
No.
So which is why we're saying, hey, magic in this case is violating the natural laws. That's why we're defining magic as something that violates the natural laws and bringing transcendence along with magic.
No, not in all cases. For example, in some cultures, what is considered magic?
I don't care about cultures. Exactly, I care about the action.
Exactly.
No, I don't. No, Kunta. There are some cultures that might still believe the Earth is flat. It doesn't matter.
I'll let you talk, because if you're going to have this conversation about I do not believe in any gods, then we're going to have to come to some sort of agreement regarding what we mean by these terms, right? So what is considered magic may be viewed as a form of knowledge, understanding the universe that isn't yet fully understood by modern science, right? So this is what the things that we're talking about here, like natural processes, herbalisms, or even the way that psychology is perceived in Asian Near Eastern contexts. That's all that I'm saying. And if we can't understand these kind of, the way that I'm using this language, then we might not be able to get anywhere, to be honest, because you guys are focused on biology when I'm focused on something else. You guys are focused on physics.
Hold on. Listen. Stop, Kunta. I'm sorry, but I am going to have to move on, because you just seem to be rambling on about this, and we're focused on what's real. Like in reality, you're focused on this like magical view of reality that we seem to disagree with what magic is, despite the fact that everything that you described, you've literally described as a wizard in a Marvel movie. So it seems to me like we are at an impasse, because neither of us are communicating in the same way. You're defining magic in some kind of weird way that is not magic, but at the same time is also described as magic. And so we're just not going to have a productive conversation about this, like, whatsoever.
Like, next time, just bring a dictionary. Like, let's just use a dictionary.
You haven't brought a dictionary yet, so be quiet. So,
first of all, you don't get to tell people to be quiet. Okay, I'm the host. I get to tell people to be quiet.
I love Corey. Corey's my friend, but he just gets on my nerves sometimes. But, host, maybe this is just a product of enlightenism. That's it.
No. This is definitely not an enlightened kind of thing right here.
Yes, it is.
You're muted, Corey.
Look into the research. Yes, it is. A product of light, the age of reason. That is what has created so much division between the spiritual world and the physical world. Maybe we need to learn how to bridge the gap. That's all that I came here for.
I don't think that there's a gap that can be bridged.
Yeah, can you demonstrate the physical world? I don't think you could, because people couldn't demonstrate the physical world before the Enlightenment era either. They just still believed in it. Like that's the like, and again, I'm sorry, belief doesn't create reality. So, like, was the Earth flat prior to us figuring out the Earth was round?
I mean, you know me. I view it as
was the Earth flat before human beings did the math and realized the Earth was round?
You know me. I don't hold on to the flat Earth theory. It's just
I'm not accusing you of being a flat earther. I'm trying to use your logic here. You're talking about how the Enlightenment era apparently led to a separation of the spiritual world and the physical realm. My point is that people believing in a spiritual world does not make that spiritual world exist. So, like in the same way that believing the Earth was flat prior to our ability to prove it was round does not actually mean the Earth was flat before we could prove it.
Of course, heliocentrism is kind of like how they perceived it before, and then over time, they came to realize that the Earth was not flat. So I agree with you.
Wait, neither of those things are connected to one another. Like you're talking about heliocentrism and geocentrism, and then flat Earth is kind of a separate thing there.
Well, wait. Like if so, look at heliocentrism. Basically,
we knew the Earth wasn't flat way before. Like we knew that the geocentrism. Was wrong.
I'm talking about when you study like Egyptologists. Like this is the heliocentrism is kind of like how they use to come to some ground on the Earth being flat. Like look into it, bro. Heliocentrism, but over time we can realize that there's different models that we can use to prove that the Earth is not as flat as we think it is. But anyways, my point it's true. Let's just look into it. You think I'm quick?
Okay, so you're missing the actual question I asked, because the point
what was the question that you asked?
Does the belief in something actually make that true? When most of, if not the entire human population, believed the Earth was flat before we could prove it was round, right? Because there was a time when that happened, when most people believed the Earth was flat. Can you and I agree on this? Waiting on a yes.
From the own subjective reality, perhaps, sure.
Okay, fuck it, sure. So most people believed that the Earth was flat. They didn't really have the ability to demonstrate the Earth was round. Would you agree that there was a time when humans did not have the ability to determine that the Earth was round?
Yes, that's why I said, like, at first.
Cool. Does that mean the Earth was flat before they could demonstrate that it was round?
We agree. That's my.
No, I'm just.
You make my argument.
Kunta, I'm trying to carry you to the finish line here. I need you to work with me a little bit. It's a yes or a no.
Yeah, I'm saying. I know where you're going with this. We agree. But anyways, go on.
Cool. So, because belief does not equal reality. Therefore, this idea that people believed in a spiritual world before the Enlightenment does not mean the spiritual world necessarily existed. That's all I was trying to get us to.
That is not logically follow, if that's where you're going with that. That is not. So that is not logically follow. So there are beliefs often create social reality. For example, there are shared beliefs about money, laws, or cultural norms that establish systems that function based on those beliefs. We also know that, like, for example, when it comes to like currency may not have intrinsic value, but we still hold on to some sort of belief in those values, right? How they function true within their social context. I mean, we also know that, for example, placebo effects. What do you say about placebo effects? Right? Demonstrate how belief can lead to real physiological changes, but can we actually prove that it can literally? No. It can't.
Yeah. No. It turns out that it actually does turn out that if your body, if you feel more confident or if you feel better, your body will relax more. And when your body does this, it's a lot easier for your body to focus on repairing the damage or handling disease.
Yeah, sure. It's still, at the end of the day, it's still a belief, right? They may experience actual improvements in their conditions.
But there's a physiological change that allows. Hold on, there's a physiological change that allows for those things. It's not the belief itself that does it. It's how your body reacts to your psychological state of mind.
How do you guys define belief? Because maybe we have a different definition of belief.
Oh God, I really don't care about this define what is kind of conversation. I do have a lot of guests in the waiting. Is there any way that we can table this for another time, because we have been on this for a while?
Right, fair. I just want to say thank you for this conversation. I enjoyed metaphysical conversation discussions, And the more that we have this conversation, bridge the gap, it will be cool, because the Enlightenment project in the 18th century and Renaissance era has done a lot of damage, I think. And we need to somehow bridge the gap somehow. That's the only way the world in the future will bring people together. Even if it turns out being science fiction, I can care less.
Okay, good. I appreciate you coming up there, Kunta, and we are going to get to a different guest, though, okay? Well, heathens, what did you think of Kunta's call? Do you agree with any of his positions on any of these topics? Or do you think that maybe he needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit there and rethink some of these positions? Let me know down below in the comments, and while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. And as always, don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.